Guys, no. Guys, we have something to tell you.
Yeah.
We got together. What is this?
We moved in together.
We moved in. This is, no, that is not what happened.
No.
But we are here to celebrate 5 years, as you can probably see from the video. 5 years of this channel happening. Mm-hmm. It's very unusual to look at a frame of something and have you be right next to me. That's very weird, actually.
I'm used to looking at you.
Yeah, I'm used to looking at on a screen.
I'm kind of looking at you, but...
Yeah, I guess so. I'm just looking at you, kid.
I don't know. Is this thing crooked? It might be crooked a little bit.
Is it?
Think about it.
Yeah, it might be.
I don't know. But it's okay.
We'll fix it in post.
This is our first video we're doing in person.
Yeah.
So maybe troubleshoot a little bit.
If it's a little scuffed, I mean, here's the thing. So we rented a place. We've got a whole different areas that we can set up and that we're likely going to be using for a setup. So if it's a little scuffed, we apologize. But this felt like a really nice room to do before the sun goes down. Kind of a nice evening here. So yeah.
And so we wanted to, when we initially asked for questions, we already knew we were going to do this, but we were being sly little mischievous little devils. And so we didn't tell you that. Well, in person we can answer them.
It's true.
It's going to get crazy.
It's true.
To say the least.
To say the least.
This is unexpectedly probably going to be a very long video, I feel like, based on how many questions we got. We got double digits in terms of how many people commented, as well as we had multiple questions from everybody. We encourage that, so can't blame them.
Yeah, I think you dropped the number to me before we started recording, and that's all. That's a lot. It's a lot of questions, a lot more than I was expecting. But the thing is, like, you know, we allowed people to make however many they wanted. So
yeah, I've seen some of them just because I was like getting ready for this, but I wasn't like researching my answers or anything. And my brother apparently last minute submitted a bunch of questions. I haven't seen any of those yet. So. All right.
We were expecting no repeats. We hope you read ahead and didn't ask the same question.
Well, if they ask the same question,
we
have to give them the same amount of effort.
Yeah, that's right. It's the same amount of effort, same length too, depending on how long. Yeah. I mean, some of these might be like real quick, easy. I don't know. I haven't really looked at any of them, so I guess we'll find that out.
I hate the handles on YouTube, the @s. Because it makes it...
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what their name is supposed to actually be.
Yeah, that is a little
weird.
weird.
SEADS 949.
At Seeds.
He said, who will win in a fight?
Well, I guess we're here right now. We could try that. We could find out for real.
No, what do you think?
I don't really know. I'm not like... I've given those... those days are behind me.
Your fighting days?
My fighting days. No.
You got into fist fights?
No, I mean, I was not really like fist fights. There were some little scuffles and stuff I got into in high school, but nothing like serious. Nothing like major or anything like that. Nothing real.
I've always been a lover and not a fighter, first and foremost.
So I feel like maybe at that case, I might have the edge on that then, but...
But I'll choke a bitch if I have to.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like for the most part I mellowed out.
Look how much bigger my head is.
My road rage is... It's because you're leaning forward.
It's like I got the weight advantage on you right there.
It's
Look
true.
At this.
It's true. You do have... I think you probably have the weight advantage on me. We're fairly... Even though this isn't like the most accurate, you're kind of slouching and I'm like sitting up, so... We don't know. We're relatively the same height. I think he's definitely weighs more than me, so I think that is in his favor. You said it. That wasn't me. I'm just going by what you said. But
so you can just say I would have beat your ass. You can just say that.
I feel like you probably would. I think you have that have a slight advantage in that regard, but I don't know. I got that hidden rage, and I got that road rage energy that I feel in. Oh yeah.
All right,
it's there.
At GBO5808 says favorite Survivor moment so far.
Oh man,
favorite moment. Period.
Favorite moment. There's a lot of really great ones.
Give me a quick top 10. And from 10 to 1.
10 to 1. From 10 to 1. Okay. Well, I really like. I really like the. What's his name at Tribal Council? Wow, this is great.
Which
What a
one?
great moment. Yeah, which one? Who? Jeb's flipping out at tribal council. Judd. They said Jeb. Jeb did not do that. He did not get his family fed.
Yeah, I think it was Jed.
Yeah.
I
It
don't
is
think I
Jed,
read
yeah.
Jebediah yet.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, it was
Okay,
Judd. Judd's tribal council. That's a good one.
ADD.
I think there are a lot of tribal council moments. I feel like the blind side, the Edgardo blindside, yes, that one's definitely a big one.
Michelle falling off the podium.
Michelle falling off the podium was a great moment. I would say pretty much anything with
Johnny Fairplay,
Rupert and Rupert.
Rupert with the spear.
Rupert with the spear.
Yeah.
I would say Cerise, the 3-2-1 vote, is a big one too. That was huge. In terms of like comedy moments or moments that kind of like live rent free. There's also the Tom's like Big Tom looking back, the Big Tom looking back, and Rudy being like, "I got friends, I've got friends, so you better watch your back." I think those are kind of big ones for me. I think all time favorite is probably the one I quote the most, which is where Rupert was uncharacteristically very upset when he came back from tribal. Who the hell voted for me?
Yeah.
Pearl Islands is just rife with
almost every episode of Thailand has great moments too.
Oh yeah, it was our favorite. Our first. It was we do not have anything to do with Thailand.
We don't associate with that.
We don't associate with that. Little Mr. Freeze.
All right, I think that's.
Yeah, I think that's good.
We didn't really answer.
I think my favorite. I think what I would say, my favorite moment of the game would honestly probably be the Edgardo blindside. I think that moment was really great. I think that the whole chaos of that, everything, all that going down, was a lot of fun. It's really up there. So
Johnny Fairplay did grandmother lie, maybe.
Yeah, that's up there too, definitely. The dead grandma. She's dead, dude.
Rupert, after he gets voted out, and he says, "So much for my hopes and dreams."
Well, hey, he won $1 million. The man won $1 million for being popular.
Little did he know. There you go.
Yeah.
Chase Ferrier says, "What is your favorite individual episode of Survivor so far?"
Probably that last Rupert episode. I think that was one of the first ones that I put my Survivor star on. That was a great.
You just said that.
Yeah, I know, but I think that always stands out to me as like this is like one of the best episodes of the whole show. It's like that and like the Suri 3-2-1 vote one where she organized that whole thing was pretty great too. But those, so I'd probably still lean with that. Rupert's last episode was really pretty big.
I think so.
Yeah.
It might be the best one yet. Just like it was like a Shakespearean tragedy almost. Like,
yeah, it really was. Yeah. No,
our
it was
hero.
Yeah, our hero of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's it. That's what we got there.
He also asked, "What's your favorite video you've made?" Period. Question mark.
The favorite video that we've made.
What's your favorite? Your personal favorite?
My personal favorite.
It's probably going to end up being the ones that are often the ones in Blasty Awards at the end of the year.
Our video of the
year.
year.
Where it's like, Tarqaron cards. The first time we opened those Tarqaron cards.
That was pretty great.
That was great. First time doing Tarqaron All-Stars. First time doing a gift exchange. These ones.
Those ones are pretty big.
The ones that come to mind.
I think I'm gonna say like, boy, that is tough. I don't know. I like the gift exchanges a lot. I like kind of the one-off birthday videos that we do as well. Mm-hmm. Some of those that we've done reviews, but we've also done like some more unusual things.
I look back on the first Tarqaron cards video, especially because it was such like a unique to that.
Yeah, that was definitely a big deal. I would say I like to think back on the first. I would say probably. Boy, it is really tough. I'm going to say our box art battles that we did with Pete Dorr. I'm going to say that because, biased, big Pete Dorr fan, obviously. I box art battles is like, that's always some of my favorite stuff that we do in general. Obviously, huge shout outs to the Tarqaron All-Stars. Those are great. Those are like a close second in terms of like
we're gonna do
series
one.
we do.
We are in the next couple of days.
We're gonna do one while we're here, which is gonna be a lot of fun, I think. But
those are fun. I would say, box art battles are fun. You get a different guest every time.
Yeah.
I think personally, after like watching back some of them, I think the one we just did is actually our best.
The one we did with Blink was really fun. I honestly, I need to go back and watch it because it was, it'd been a little bit in the moment. It was fun. It was good. We were vibing.
It just happened to get a bunch of crappy box arts for the most part, but
he's a good sport.
It was like,
he's a lot of fun. We definitely want him back for other
for
videos and stuff. Great for the format, yeah. So
I would say maybe Tarqaron Cards 1 is mine.
Yeah, that's a good one. Sweet.
From Chase Ferrier, how has doing this channel had a positive impact on your life?
I think I'm more intentional in terms of like when I'm watching movies, I do like try to think about them in a more like from a more critical point of view, I guess. I don't know. I'm not like going into a movie as a movie critic, but I am thinking about like what I'm going to say and the type of things that I'm going to bring into the discussion.
Yeah.
And I think that has always kind of been a way that I've kind of approached movies, but I like it because it makes me think about like the whole experience as a whole, going to the movies and things like that. And I think that's like the best. I think that's really the only way to watch a movie, honestly, at this point. So I'm glad it sort of like helped reinforce that kind of aspect of how I watch stuff. And it's not even necessarily going to the movies, it's like watching stuff on Netflix, So
yeah, I mean, I'd say similarly, I feel like a byproduct of doing this channel has made it so I almost don't consume any media passively anymore. I'm like always like pretty dialed in to whatever I'm watching, playing, reading stuff. And I mean, just purely what has had a positive impact is also just a lot of cool stuff we wouldn't have watched otherwise, wouldn't have experienced otherwise without this channel.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, like we go back to the older, like really old stuff, like when we were first starting out, like watching Good Will Hunting, all the Godfathers.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's like we've done hundreds of reviews now, so.
Yeah, so helping us work on our like cinema backlog, I guess, in a certain way. That's been Silence of the Lambs is another one. I mean, I think that's the most enjoyable way to consume media. Isn't just to be a consume, really. That's I think is like sort of one of the big problems. I think a lot of I could get into a whole philosophical discussion about problems in the games industry right now in terms of it's just consume our product.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with like quality. Quality is like totally gone away with a lot of like AAA video games and stuff these days. But to me, it's more enjoyable when you can sit down and enjoy and critique and get something out of different art forms like cinema, like movies, cinema. So I think that's been I would agree.
And I mean, obviously, all the different. I think in general, the reason I love to do videos is because I can tend to be pretty forgetful. So like, I might it could be a few years ago, and it was like I don't remember what I specifically thought about this movie, and now we have all these. They're just time capsules you can go back and watch.
Yeah.
Exactly what we thought about at the time, and then we have other things we're working in, like the review show, where we can at least reflect on things more. Too.
Yeah, which has actually been fun because you read out some of the like, this is what you said about this movie, and so I have to be like, so.
Yeah. I mean, it's just great every week to have an excuse to just talk about fun stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
With a friend, we're never in person otherwise.
Yeah.
So it's like that's the only way we really get a chance to touch base. So that's cool too. All right, how did you guys meet? You've probably covered this before, but I don't remember. LOL.
Well, okay, so we were both members on an old forum, Pete's Game Room forum, actually. So Pete Dorr.
Old video game forum.
It was an old video game forum, and we were. I think it was a lot of it was from the All Gen Gamers podcast. Is that where? I think that's kind of where most of that came from. So I got sort of voted in or whatever. I don't even remember how that happened. That's a whole big story.
Such a dumb process.
It's such a stupid story. Basically, I was on a fan podcast of the All Gen Gamers, and the whole goal for that was we were big fans of the show. We wanted to talk about some of the stuff they talked about. We wanted to just vibe and do our own thing a little bit too, but we definitely wanted an excuse to have them and talk to them.
And it quickly turned into not having anything to do with All Gen Gamers.
Almost nothing did. It very quickly. It was like even within the first 3 or 4 episodes, honestly. So we did have, I think we had them all on except for Jason. I think he was the only one we didn't have on. We had Pete, we had Johnny, we had Gamester.
Broland.
We had Broland. Yeah, he became a host. That's right. Ben Rowland. So anyway, I was on that podcast, and then
I always said Broland, but is it Browland?
Yeah, because his name is Ben Rowland, so it's actually Browland. I don't know, or B Rowland. Anyway, so you were on a podcast at the same time, the Hey Listen video game podcast, and
with Cole.
With Cole, who
he's on the channel in one video, memorialized forever.
We've not really stayed in contact with him, or he's sort of harder to reach now. I think Snapchat is the only way. I'd barely use Snapchat. I could reach him
right now. I could probably call him on Snapchat.
You could call him on Snapchat.
But
we'd probably
I just
get him
don't want to get into the tirade. We'd probably get him.
That's a whole story. But we anyway. So you had me on that podcast.
Yeah. So I guess the first time we didn't meet technically, but the first time we actually talked was in episode 11, I think, of Hey Listen.
Yeah.
Which is somewhere around 2012, 2013.
Yeah, because you guys were fans of All Gen Gamers. You guys were also fans of our podcast. You'd listen to our podcast too. I hadn't listened to. I think I only listened to a couple episodes of Hey Listen, so we kind of got going on that. Then later on, our podcast dissolved. Our producer / one of the main hosts he was 16. He was 15, I think, when we started, but he was 16, and you were young too. He was 16, but he was living in Australia. He was Auckland or Queensland. I don't remember exactly where he was, but Sydney maybe. I don't remember. But he was just super busy. It was 12-hour time difference, so it kind of sometimes worked out. But he was in high school and he was going through a lot. So that our podcast eventually sort of dissolved. We tried to continue it on for a while, but it was editing was down to me, and I don't know how to edit anything. I'm Windows Movie Maker guy. I don't know how to do stuff. I can do stuff on Audacity, and so me and another host on that went on to Hey Listen. We did probably about 15 episodes or something of that, right?
You were absorbed into the Hey Listen.
We basically got absorbed. Yeah, the users podcast. That's what we were known as.
And so we did that
for a few months, anyway.
Yeah. And then we technically met first in PAX when we went to PAX East convention.
2015. It was almost 10 years ago now, which is really crazy.
And so we were planning on restarting things, me, Alec, and Cole, and then that just didn't work out. We did a couple videos, and then it died off, and that was it for a few years until 2019, where essentially I think it started when I was you want to watch Survivor?
Yeah, we just kind of we're chilling out, and we were you just were sort of kind of brought up the idea of watching through Survivor or something, because I think we were just talking about just general shows we're interested in, and you were I bet you if I get you to watch like one episode of that show, you'd be hooked. Because I think I was kind of bashing it or something. I was kind of dissing it. And you were like, I guarantee you that you would enjoy it. Well, so, and then...
Honestly, I wasn't sure. So that's why when we did the first season, it was just like, we'll do a video after the fact on my channel talking about it.
Right.
And because it was never in my mind we would do every episode the way we do now, because I didn't even know if you would like it to begin with. But then we ended up doing the first 3 seasons that way on my channel. Just posting discussions, talking about it afterwards on my channel. Basically binged through those seasons. Mm-hmm. And then around the time when we finished the 4th season, Marquesas, we had this idea to do the kind of stuff we always wanted to do, where we do movie reviews, talk about games, whatever, as well as do Survivor, and mix the two together.
Yeah, so
Tarqaron was born.
Tarqaron was born from that. And we hadn't really met in person. We hadn't really been in person since PAX. Almost 10 years ago now. So, yeah. I had another podcast for a brief period of time. Again, editing was all on me. My internet at home was horrible at that time. I'm not going to say the name of it. But, I'll say the name of it. If you're really interested, you can go see, like, 2016 me, when me and my friend Chris were into Overwatch. We did like a Ruby review. We did stuff with, we talked about Legend of Korra. We did like a whole series deep dive on that. We talked about news. We talked about anime. The podcast name was Shonen Grump, which was a podcast or a radio show that we did when we were in college together. So, what we did for 2 semesters, we did for a year, my last year, and we had a blast doing that. So we were like, let's just do a podcast version of that. Mm-hmm. We did that for a while, and then that didn't, I think I got like super behind on editing them. I was having a lot of like audio problems at that period of time. So the recorder, because I think it was recording on Skype or something. It was horrible. Skype, remember that spyware? Remember that? Remember that?
Yeah, we dealt with Skype. We dealt with, when we started doing Survivor discussions on my channel, was Google Hangouts.
It was scuffed.
Really low quality.
Super scuffed.
Video. But here we are now. So technically our second time meeting. So
yeah.
And now we're married.
Cool. Yeah, that's it. That's how that works.
So, and Chase says, just want to say that I really enjoy your Survivor reactions and movie reviews. I found your channel from the original Survivor Borneo review, which is older than this channel. Anyways, thank you for making these videos. I really enjoyed them. And sometimes the entertainment from these videos have distracted me from stuff going on in my life. So I just want to say thank you.
Honestly, that means a lot. Because I always see those comments and I'm always like, I totally understand that. Because there's a degree of that I can definitely relate to. Where a lot of the stuff I watch, just really good, really nice distraction. So the fact that we can be that for someone else is actually kind of heartwarming. So that's thanks for that.
Thank you.
Your kind
words.
Thank
you, Chase. Chase is a real one.
He's a real one. He always comments on our Survivor stuff, and so thanks a lot for contributing.
Been there since day 0.
Yeah. And finding our Borneo review, that is going back. So.
And he's still been commenting every season, so we'll see him.
Love it.
All right. At SHEA4683, Shay. Top 3 contestants on Survivor out of all the seasons you've watched. Well, Alec, actually, at the end of every season review, he has a continuing top 10 all time that we're going to continue to update after each season. Mm-hmm. So you can go at the end of the video to see the full top 10. But I believe you had Boston Rob, Rupert, Rob Sesternino currently.
I believe that's it, yeah. Yeah, we didn't I don't think I shook it up too much on the... I think I shook it up a little bit on the last thing that we did. But yeah, those are my top 3. So, Robs and Rupert.
For me, it would probably be Rob, Boston Rob, Sari, and the third one's tough. Rupert might be up there anyway as well. Mm-hmm. But I also really like Todd. So
yeah, it's great. Great guy.
There's a lot of great ones.
Todd got onto my list last time, so yeah. Great player.
All right, here comes Dubs.
Oh, go ahead. Here it comes. Oh, God.
Otherwise known as @so many Oreos.
That's a whole story behind that too.
He left us a list of questions. The first question is favorite card
Love you, man.
in the Tarqaron TCG.
Oh God, it's been a while since I've gone through all of them, so I don't know.
There's a lot of cards that I like visually, as well as cards that I like how they operate, and it's like a fun inside joke. A lot of Survivor ones.
Yeah, that's true. That is kind of fun how those all work. But
I'd say probably the coolest visually is the turning red one. Remember the one where it's like the girl version and you flip it?
Yeah, that is so cool. That one's great.
Yeah, if you don't know what that is, check out our opening Tarqaron cards video. It's basically all my brother's doing. So he made a ton of custom cards for us. We've still got more to open today. It's hundreds of cards at this point. So
it's tough. I really like the cards that where it's sort of like the card art sort of envelops the border, or it's like borderless, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Those ones are always my favorite. I can't off the top
Untitled
think of one.
Goose Game.
Yes.
Or it was like messing with the format.
Yes, that one. I think that's my favorite card. I love that one.
Really good.
Yeah.
And I do love the little Survivor references, where it like actually affects like the rules of the card. It actually makes sense with it too. Mm-hmm. You know, those are the top ones. There might be more that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, it's true. We do have another wave to go through.
All right, that was the next question. Fastest opinion change after the moment of upload. Review video, top 5 list, answer to a question, etc.
That's a really interesting question.
Because I gotta think of ones like Rise of Skywalker, where we're kind of on the high in the moment.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna say Mulan, the live action Mulan for me.
Right.
I think that one for me. That was way too high. That movie the movie's not good.
You also had the fastest opinion change mid-upload as well with Silence of the Lambs.
That was wild. That was weird. I mean,
we didn't do our gut check at the time. You probably would have come up with like a 5.
Yeah, or something.
And then come with 9.5 at the end.
Yeah. that was a wild time. Yeah, well, that was one of those times where it's like, this is something that I do all the time, even still, but like, for whatever reason, that particular time, I'd watch the movie over the course of 2 nights instead of just once. So I like weirdly was like, yeah, I don't know, like the pacing just felt off to me. Like it felt like 2 different movies. And then as we were talking about it, it synthesized in my brain. Like it was very weird. Right. And I was like, oh yeah, never mind. I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, 9.5, great movie. It's like a masterpiece.
I don't know. I have big regrets on opinions immediately.
Yeah, I'd say Mulan for me, definitely. Because Rise of Skywalker, I would say like that's just sort of degraded over time, but it's I still like it.
Again,
I haven't watched it again either.
So who am I to say?
I guess that's true. So
that's tough. All right.
So you don't got one, okay?
I don't have one.
You don't really have one.
How have circumstance changes in your personal lives, moving, etc., impacted how you two plan, film, and run this channel? Well, you're the only one who's moved out during it.
I moved out during, but the thing is also that is a huge positive impact because like most of the time our technical errors aren't always on my end. Sometimes they are. There was the one time last year where all of a sudden for a wheel spin I'm recording in my basement.
Yeah. Now it's more on my end than
which is unfortunate.
But mostly better.
Yeah. No, it's some of that stuff is just like you can't really necessarily plan for it.
Yeah.
I mean,
but didn't affect it too much. I mean, we've only had one like significant break around COVID time. Yeah. We had a couple months.
That changed a lot. I mean, that was the world.
I mean, look around.
Look around.
Look to your brother. Look to your left and to your right.
I mean, the world changed.
You might notice one is missing. The world is forever changed by COVID.
Who's missing? What?
Maybe your brother.
Maybe your sister.
Maybe your sister.
Oh, okay. Okay. Anyway, but
other than that, we've been pretty consistent.
Yeah, I think there's definitely been like some stuff that has happened here and there. But I think for the most part, like we're able to. I would actually almost go the inverse of that, because I feel like planning, filming, and running the channel has more changed stuff in my personal life, because I have to make room. Like, there are times where I'll have to do something. I'm like, no, we gotta record that, or we're doing stuff on the channel tonight. We've changed nights of recording a few times. That hasn't impacted me like a ton, but on occasion it does make things a little like, because we're doing it on Monday nights for the most part. So, and I usually don't have a whole lot going on Mondays. Neither does anybody. So. Which is good.
What about this move that we just made to this location?
To this location?
That might affect our filming.
It might. It might definitely affect it. I mean, we're
going to
have to figure it out.
It's going to affect our production in terms of we're going to have a bunch of videos to record here, and it's going to be spread out over the next few weeks. Mm-hmm. That's an effect. But.
Yeah. But, yeah, I wouldn't say nothing tremendously has done. I mean, like, there are definitely times where... I'm just trying to think like going on dates and stuff like that, but that most of the time hasn't been affected by the channel. So tomorrow there'll be more of us.
Here we are. It's time to bang.
Mukbang?
Where's our muck? Bring me the muck.
Bring my muck. I'm mucking and banging.
While you're eating that delicious wing from Wingstop, Dubs asks, favorite piece of video game music, one track.
You make it's a difficult proposition.
That's tough.
It is tough.
It's tough. I gotta go with Megalovania though. At the end of the day.
No. Get that shit out of here.
The one track from Minecraft Dungeons.
There's only one track in Minecraft Dungeons.
I don't know. I just knew that's the only place they were able to really get music for Smash Bros. Because it's like there's no music to really take.
There is. It's just all very peaceful.
Yeah.
Boy, that's really hard. I mean, okay.
Dragon Roost Island.
That is a really good one. I always go back to. No, you know what? I have one. Corridors of Time from Chrono Trigger. It's very. That one's almost always been kind of the one I go to when I think of favorites. Chrono Cross as a soundtrack, I would say, is even better than Chrono Trigger's soundtrack, which is extremely high praise. Chrono Trigger is a game I like more, but yeah, I mean, it's no slouch in the music department, and yeah, Corridors of Time has always been one of my big favorites from that game. I originally named the show I was doing on my YouTube channel was going to be called that, because one of the things I was wanting to do on it was to review video game soundtracks.
Right.
And I never did that.
Yeah.
I almost did almost nothing on that channel. I have a Chrono Cross review. That's the most viewed video on my channel. It's 200 views or something like that. So you just kind of stream of consciousness reviewing Chrono Cross, but
I don't know if it's purely biased, or nostalgia bias, but I do love Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door's music, like Rogueport. I love Super Mario Sunshine. I like was it Bianco Harbor?
Bianca Hills or Rico Harbor?
Rico Harbor.
Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, that's a great one.
A lot of good ones. I love Animal Crossing music, like the original Animal Crossing. It's great. But if we're gonna pick one track, I would say Megalovania. Final answer.
Why? Why?
Favorite moment in a video: a bit, joke, or silly thing that you remember most fondly?
It's falling apart.
Falling apart. Yeah.
It was during the Last Jedi review, I think, right? Where it was just
No, it was.
Was it not? No, it was during. Yeah, maybe not Last Jedi. I thought it was the Last Jedi.
No, it happened in a Survivor episode.
No. I'm talking about when when I did that.
Yeah.
No, because it was my video quality. There's another moment in a Survivor episode where what's her name says I'm falling apart, and I think I might have been quoting I'm falling apart. Might have been even from that, but it was definitely from the Last Jedi review because that was a super scuffed.
Yeah.
So that's what I always remember. Very funny.
Okay.
That and just the laughs of Chug's bunny.
Yeah.
Or Hector's hole.
So great.
There's some really wild nonsense that has come from those but
yeah, those are probably I would say Chug's bunny is probably the best.
Immortalized forever.
Mm-hmm. Biggest disagreement in a video between the two of you?
Honestly,
I don't
probably
disagree, he just disagrees.
Honestly, our Knuckles review probably. That was a pretty. I would say that was probably the biggest.
Is that what he's saying? I thought he was saying like
if we were actually like getting upset.
Like that's how I pictured it, but maybe. Even so,
I'm trying to think. I think there were some times where we did. I think we did get legitimately frustrated, but I don't remember.
You get frustrated. I'm always all about the vibes.
I remember now. It was in Bell.
Yeah.
That was it.
You could not get over the fact that it's unrealistic for a man to get down on his knees and grovel in such a dramatic fashion. You were offended by it. Okay.
Yeah, because I think it's legit. Is there an apartment above here?
Let's go look.
I just noticed that I think there is at least a room up there. I don't know if it's a whole apartment.
Fries.
Oh yeah, these fries are good.
These fries will save lives, man.
I don't think they will.
Marry these fries.
I don't think they will. Not as good as Five Guys.
No, they're not. All right, biggest disagreement, yeah.
I would say that was pretty, because like I did get fairly animated during that.
You just get angry sometimes, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
I did get kind of angry during that for no reason.
I don't know what's happening, but...
Well, when else? Was another time? You see, you get angry sometimes, but I don't remember another time.
Well, that Survivor China episode, you were a little fed up at the end. I was like, oh, okay. We're done here, you said. We're done. I'm done. That's it. What was the other one? There was some other one, man. They're in the Blastia Awards one. But we had a year where we did that biggest disagreement, something to that degree.
Their agree to disagree award or whatever it was called. Yeah.
So I have to look back on that one. Who comes up with the most ideas for videos?
Zach, easily.
I'm the idea guy. What can I think?
Yeah, I mean, I do come up with some ideas. There's some that I've floated, but most of it is Zach. Yeah,
I'll think of things and I'll pitch them. And then I have to convince you on some of them.
Quite good on some of that. Yeah, some of them have taken some convincing.
I remember box art battles. You did not think would work initially, but I was like championing that. I'm like, we just try it.
Really, that's interesting. I don't remember not being on board for that one.
But
there was one that I do remember not being on board for.
And not all my ideas are completely original. Like the Tarqaron All-Stars are kind of born from watching Rob as a podcast do their Survivor simulations and just doing a little spin on them.
Most of the ideas that I've come up with, I think there's only been like one we've sort of been like, oh, that's... I think the only one I can think of is recently was the Smash Brothers, cut the Smash Brothers roster in half. And that was not my original idea. That was just straight up taken from from other YouTubers that had done that. Mm-hmm. ProZD I saw had done it, and I was like, "That's great." I watched like I watched like a minute of his, and I was like, "I'm not gonna watch any more. I think we should do a video on this." Mm-hmm. So that's one thing, and then obviously the birthday videos where I came up with like all the VTuber related stuff that I've made you do. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Or figure collect. A figure was the other thing. It was VTuber and figures.
Are there any videos you've been tempted to remake or update since their original upload? Why? That's the interesting thing with our videos is that usually they work well as just time capsules.
It's true.
Frozen in time type things.
It's true.
The only one I can think of is like, not that I necessarily would regret how we did it or something, but I feel like Good Will Hunting, it was like a 17-minute video. I feel like we did that now, it would have been like an hour-long review, you know.
Easily.
So you love that movie. You usually love the movie or have a lot to say about it. A lot of them are hard to remake because they're genuine fresh at the time. Because like some of the old Survivor videos, they're like kind of scuffed audio-wise and with other things. Other things, but you can't really remake them.
We have sort of talked about going back to like maybe doing reactions to earlier Survivor seasons, but it's not going to be the same thing because I've already watched it.
Well, it's not a redo though.
It's not a redo, yeah.
I think what would be a good idea for those is it wouldn't be a reaction. It would just be like we watch the episode and just put the discussion out. Mm-hmm. That way it's not like a whole additional edit I have to do.
Whole song and dance thing, yeah.
That's something we could definitely do at some point. But again, it's not a redo or a remake. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Generally that's just with how they go, how these videos we do go.
I'm trying to think if there's something else. Is anything else aside from that? Because I think that's really about it. It's just sort of that kind of idea. So.
After watching so much Survivor, what would you two do differently if you were yourselves contestants based upon what you have learned?
Interesting idea. Very interesting. Because that's the whole thing with like. That's why like Rusty's sort of been talked about trying out for Survivor because he's actually like submitted videos. I think
he actually has. I've always said I would want to, but I've never actually submitted. But
it's hard to say. I mean, like, because some of it is going to be some of what I would do would definitely be based on like vibes of the people as soon as I get there. But at the same time, I'd want to position myself as somebody who is a thinker, but not like a straight out like out and out. I'm the leader, because I think that's the mistake of many a Survivor contestant is that they come in and they're like, I'm not going to be the leader, but it's like very clear based on how they act the whole time that they really do kind of want to be the leader.
Yeah.
So even if it's maybe even to the detriment of the tribe, but if it's something that like I have an idea, but I get the vibes that someone's gonna be like pressing for something, that's that's definitely something where I don't want to position myself too forward, because I feel like, I don't know, maybe earlier on I would have been like, yeah, I definitely have gotten a sense of different ways to play the game that can be successful. So
yeah, it's hard because I've obviously seen 30 more seasons.
Yeah, you've seen way more seasons than I have, so
I'd say generally, yeah, you want to, if you're making moves and people know about it, you're probably not making, like, successfully doing things, as well as you could have, because people know about it, then you're going to paint a target on your back regardless. People get caught up wanting to make moves and stuff. Mm-hmm. But really, you just want to have a footprint there so you can look back on. People aren't like, you didn't do anything, but not like so upfront that, yeah, you're like the first one to go. You want to have I would have like my meat shields in front of me, these more flashy targets. So there's definitely some more modern players I would draw inspiration from. But
I guess we'll get to those eventually.
Yeah. But like a lot of the best players say is like you can't go in with a rigid plan.
Right.
You really have to see who you're playing with and go from there, and just be fluid in how you play.
Right. I think that's how it kind of has to be done. Because you kind of have to get. I think that's the whole thing. You sort of have to get a read on the people that you're playing with. So even if that has to be like kind of a slip, because I don't think they have a ton of time to sort of get to know you. They just sort of like do like a meetup, sort of like a really brief kind of powwow,
Where?
When they're first before they get put out
on the island.
Do they do like a very brief like introduction, or
they'll like say you can't talk to anybody.
Oh, okay.
But you'll see who you're playing with.
Right.
Okay. Especially nowadays, people will talk about like, because they'll do press like before they go out for their season.
Mm-hmm.
They'll like talk to journalists and stuff, get interviewed while they're on the island about to play, but they've seen everybody. They'll always ask like, who do you get a good vibe from? You know, just from seeing them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like this person smiles a lot. They're either threatened by it or they like it. You know, it's that kind of thing. It's like, you just get vibes. Maybe you're not allowed to talk. You might see someone like has like, oh, that person's wearing a Power Rangers T-shirt. I can get with them.
Yeah. Ooh, I realize I get that. They're a big gamer like me.
Yeah. Just kind of be. I'd say the biggest thing I would try to do is always keep the doors open. Don't like take out options. You know.
So it definitely seems to be the smart play.
If someone gets angry with you, it's easy to retaliate and be like, I'm done with you. But if you can like make it up with them, whatever you have to do, keep that door open. You got better options to move forward and like more likely to get their vote in the end or to be respected more. So, all right, Dub's 10th question is: would you ever consider hosting a tournament with some of your guest stars where everyone plays Tarqaron TCG? This is him asking, can I come win a tournament against your guests?
Yes, can I come and beat both your asses at Yu-Gi-Oh? Because I know that game.
I mean, that would be glorious, but practically, it's not like we don't have multiple versions of these cards to hand out.
Yeah, we would have to basically what we would have to do. This would be super hard to do, but we basically have to like upload them all onto some like way or method there, because I think you could theoretically with some TCG sites, I think you could probably be able to do that. But the problem with that, like, it would have to be in like Tabletop Simulator or something.
Yeah.
So where you'd have to like come in and you'd have to just play by the rules that are on the card.
It's tough.
Like it's not programmed that way. It's like you have to like, here's the card, this is what is on it. And then you'd have to kind of like, it's sort of a scuffed kind of way to do it. It'd be very difficult to do.
Very tough. It's a very elaborate thing. Especially now we're coordinating all the guest stars. Is it?
Yeah, with some of your guest stars. That would still be hard because like
it would be epic.
It would be awesome.
The ultimate Tarqaron tournament. All the guests.
Because I'm thinking who else would be. Do you think has Ryan played Yu-Gi-Oh? He would be like to me he would be like the most likely person. Maybe Blank. Maybe Pestro. But I feel like Ryan would be the most likely person.
Because Dubs is way more. He's knowledgeable about it. Like
extremely knowledgeable.
I grew up on Yu-Gi-Oh. I know how to play it, but I don't think it would necessarily have a leg up because of that. I think it's something you would kind of.
Well, here's the thing. He's been going through with another friend of ours in our D&D or Pathfinder group, where they play through different versions of the game. Like we're playing in this year or whatever, so we only have access to these cards. And they're doing that like with each release. They're playing with the cards at that time. I think you can. I don't know what they use, TCG Player or something. I don't know how they do that, but that's insane to me. Because so that means that he understands or knows so much about the game that like he knows like cards that are in different eras of the game. Yeah. That's just insane. So.
Yeah, but obviously it would be interesting to see him play with like these nonsense rules.
With the crap that we have on here, yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah,
it would be a lot of fun.
It would really shake up the game.
Yeah,
because my brother was telling me like he gave me for us to be able to potentially play at some point this weekend or this. It's not a weekend, but
it's really not a weekend. Yeah, it's today. Today is the last day of the weekend, so I guess that is the case.
But he gave us all the playable decks. You know, they're based on like he always gives us the sheets at the end of each thing. They're assembled that way. So some cards, like you did tell me that Jumbo card is not in the deck. The one that's just Jumbo.
Okay.
It has no effect. Like those aren't.
That card. That's just
like
a meme card. Yeah.
So he says he bases them and like the different attack levels and stuff based on existing decks, but then obviously there's the other rules that don't exist and other things like the Hangman thing,
right?
The Bye Bye Denver Diva. Like you gotta say the name correctly.
You gotta say it, yeah.
But it would be great.
No nicknames, please. They had nicknames again though in this last season. China, they had Sister Christian and
Sister
Mom.
Christian. I know.
Mom.
And now suddenly this is okay. Okay.
Yeah, all right.
All right. Ben Hebing. Ben Hiebing 6444.
Ben Habing? Yeah, I don't know.
He says I thought it said 1 to 3. I think this is number 1 question. 3 most important games to you. This isn't asking for your favorite games, but games that opened up gaming for you or you have an emotional connection to. Things like games that got you into gaming, got you into a certain genre, a game you played with someone, or maybe a game that got you to join a certain community.
So interesting. So we did actually do a video kind of in revolving around this is the top 5 games that define us, or top 10 games that define us. So we each have 5 games each on this. Yes. I don't actually even remember the games that I have on here, but the
way I kind of approached that was like the ones that could most make up like my DNA for what kind of games I like.
Yeah.
So I had Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door, I had Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, Animal Crossing, Smash Bros. Probably Smash Bros. Ultimate. And I don't know what the 5th one was.
I actually don't know if I remember. I'm going to guess mine was Ocarina of Time, Super Mario 64, Katawa Shoujo, Final Fantasy 13, and Chrono Trigger would be my guess is what they were. But I may have had other genres in there too. Because a lot of those are very like kind of in the same sort of vein of niche. I would say the most important games to me. So these are I'm going to take this as games that I like continue to like think about a lot of the time. I'm actually probably going to put Super Mario 64. I might put that up above Ocarina of Time. I think those games are like neck and neck in terms of like super important to me in my formative years. Chrono Trigger is a really huge one too. So, but the Final Fantasy 13. I mean, that's my shirt is the behemoth from 13. I mean, I think 13 is, I would say, is extremely important to me. Mario 64 was like captivated my imagination as a little kid. And like Ocarina of Time is super important to me too, but I would say I would still put Mario 64 as being like because that was the game that I played when I was like 6 or 7 or whatever when the N64 first came out. And Ocarina of Time, I wasn't allowed to play for whatever it was my brother's game, and then there's stuff in it that's gonna scare Alec because I got scared by Super Mario RPG when I was a little kid. So,
this is tough.
It's tough because like I have an emotional connection to a lot of games that I like, but I would say those two at the very least. Final Fantasy 13 and Mario 64.
So I would say GoldenEye 007.
Ooh.
That's the one I have the most memories of playing with my brother and sister. And my sister only was really into gaming very early on when she was younger. So there's a few games that we have memories of together. That's one of them. And I would say Super Smash Bros. Either the N64 or Melee, just in terms of that get me into this series that I became so into and was like so hyped for Brawl and then everything since then. And the third one, Paper Mario: Thousand Year Door probably would be up there. Just in terms of that's like still probably my favorite game of all time. It's up there, and it's like the kind of these Mario RPG games that I've grown to love. That's the epitome right there. It's tough though.
Yeah, that's always tough because like it also said like 3 most.
Because 3 most and the things, all the different things they said, like things that got you into gaming. That's one category.
Yeah, I think got you into a certain genre.
Game you played with someone, or got you into a certain community. These are all different.
Right. Yeah, because like
lists too.
Yeah, because like Katawa Shoujo is really important to me in a lot of different reasons. That's a game that I really want to play again. It's a visual novel, so it's like not so much a game. I would say that one has, in terms of visual novels that are games, quote unquote, that one has like a decent amount of like pathing that's very interesting. So so there's like a game-ish element to some of that. Because it's like a choose your own adventure game.
It's
but
like Animal Crossing, the original. A big emotional attachment to that, very nostalgic, and that also got me into a whole genre of games that I love. So,
right, I would say I remember I wrote an essay about Chrono Trigger in high school, so that's definitely like a big one for me. Like in terms of a lot of different things. I don't know. I would definitely say, yeah. So Mario 64, Final Fantasy 13 for really getting me to Final Fantasy. I was actually more into Final Fantasy before then, or I wouldn't say I was more into it then, but I was into the series before 13 came out. I just really liked the music that I had heard from it. I played through Final Fantasy 4 on the DS, and I really loved that game, but a lot of it was because of building hype for 13, honestly. So, and then the game came out, and I adored it much more than the way how people have tended to. A lot of people have started coming around on that game more recently, so that's been kind of good to see. But yeah.
All right. Next question: Giant or Red Panda? Giant. I love me a good old fashioned giant panda.
Red pandas are really cute because a lot of them are a little smaller, or they're a lot smaller, so they can be really. I've seen like videos of them like interacting with people, like scurrying around between people at like different enclosures and parks and stuff and zoos. So they're very cute, but I think I gotta go with giant panda as well. They're just iconic.
Just classic.
They're the animal of China, really, and they're big and kind of silly and doofy and dumb, and they bumble around.
Real bamboo eating motherfuckers.
Yeah. Big time.
Star Wars films, best or worst. We also have a video on this too.
We do.
We ranked all the Star Wars movies right after we reviewed all the Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
But off the top of my head, Episode 5.
Yeah, Empire. I think I have mine pretty well set up. So mine is Empire, A New Hope, Return of the Jedi, Force Awakens. I'm gonna say Episode 3, Solo. Probably Episode 9 after that. Rise of Skywalker. No, that's not fair. Shoot, now I've lost it. I mean, you need to like write these down. I almost need to write these down. It's definitely like top 3 is definitely Empire, like the original trilogy: Empire, New Hope, Return of the Jedi, and then The Force Awakens. I think is great. So you can edit around some of this because it's repeating.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got Force Awakens.
Rogue One.
No, not Rogue One. No, get that out of here. Episode 3, so Revenge of the Sith, and then I'd go Solo. Getting down to the Solo. Episode 1. Episode 9. Episode 8. Rogue One, Episode 2. This probably be mine.
That's rough. Well, here comes my hot take. Empire Strikes Back, number 1. Number 2, Force Awakens.
Wow. I just remember you saying that. I actually remember you saying that on when we were reviewing it. You're like, I like it more than New Hope.
Revenge of the Sith.
That is.
There you go.
I've
joined the 3 trilogies in harmony in the top 3. So we got 5.
Wow.
5, 7, 3. A New Hope, Return of the Jedi. Rogue One. Return of the Jedi, Rogue One. Rise of Skywalker. Last Jedi. Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones. Oh, and then throw Solo. Throw Solo.
Somewhere in there.
Who cares? Who cares? Throw it wherever you like.
Throw it where... You weren't a big fan of that. I mean, I think it's fine. It's a fine movie. I'm not like the biggest proponent of it, but I do enjoy Solo a lot more than most of those other ones. So,
right. Harry Potter snack you wish existed in real life. A lot of them do now.
A lot of them do.
Kind of.
Okay, in the magical form though. That's the real thing.
I don't know. I don't know. I can't think of a lot of them. Name some.
So we've got like.
Butterbeer.
So like butterbeer, fire whiskey. We have Bertie Bott's every flavor beans, chocolate frogs, treacle tarts. Trying to think of others. There are more. Well, so I think licorice snaps was a movie thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say butterbeer though. I don't know if that counts, but I would call that like a snack. It's like because it's a snack if it's a drink.
Right.
A butterbeer does kind of exist, but
yeah, all these things they've tried to make exist. Like the beans are just like Bean Boozled.
Mm-hmm.
Harry Potter edition.
Bertie Bott's every flavored beans.
Chocolate frogs. I've never actually had the chocolate frogs, the snacks that are out there.
They're pretty good. I mean, a real living frog though that's made out of chocolate, that would be a little weird. A weird enchantment. I'd probably, you know what? I'd probably be okay with. I'd probably be okay with that. It's moving around, whatever. You bite off its head, and but it's still chocolate at the end of the day.
All right, what is your zombie apocalypse plan?
We did a whole video on this. We did a whole video on this. I think one of us. Well, a lot of it was involving like how we were trying to get to each other. I think some of that.
The video is called "Discussing Our Zombie Apocalypse Plan."
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah. I honestly don't even remember. My plans probably changed since then too.
I don't know. We're going to Walmart or something. What?
I think we tried to like get like bludgeoning blunt objects and an arsenal. So like trying to go to Walmart basically to try to get there. I live kind of close to Walmart.
A long spear. Oh yeah, I was like, I want a bow staff.
I was like classic Shaun of the Dead. You get a cricket bat. It's just something nice and for those uncomfortable melee encounters that might have to happen.
Yeah. But you need to get some fortified place. Stuff.
Yeah, it's tough. I think I always was like, oh, I'm okay because I'm in a fairly rural part of the world, so I'd be all right with some of that. I could probably hole out for quite a while up it. I know some places. I know ways to get into some places.
That's what Herschel thought. He had to give up the farm.
Yeah, that's too bad. There's a place that's kind of near me that was right up where I grew up, where it's a very exclusive membership there. And I'd try to hole up and hide out in there because, like, who cares? The world's going to crap.
So BJ's.
BJ's would be a good place to stock up, I guess, but
BJ's would be a good commodity in the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, but you'd have to. The problem is that you'd have to fend off everyone else. That's the thing. Everyone else is trying to do the same thing, so you'd have to jockey for position in some way.
Yeah.
But
when you put a toilet paper roll on the roller, does it roll over or under?
It's a great question.
I mean, are you a psychopath? It has to be over.
It has to be over. I 100% agree.
Every time I go into these places,
when they have under, it freaks me out.
How do you not even think about that? It's crazy.
Why do you have it? Why do you have it under? Why would you have it under? I don't understand it at all. I just don't get it.
I'll never get it.
I'll never understand.
Blinkoom.
Hey.
Blinkooms in the comments. He said, what is a video game that you've been meaning to play for years or maybe even decades, but you just haven't found the time or energy to get around to?
Great question. Man.
The Last of Us.
That's a big one. Honestly, like going in that same Naughty Dog
The Last
thing.
of Us Remastered and The Last of Us Part 1 and The Last of Us
Part 2. And The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. This is a good question. There's some games that I think I have on my computer that would fit this mold. If we're counting visual novels, Fate Stay Night is a big one. I've been wanting to understand, and I think it's actually getting an official version soon. The problem with Fate Stay Night is that its original version is it's technically, it has hentai scenes in it, so I think first of all, it's huge. It's like on the visual novel hentai. in the visual novel database, I believe it's listed as one of the very long format ones, which I think is anywhere between 72 to 100 hours.
Whoa.
So it's a very, very long thing. So fans have translated this like ages ago, which is how a lot of the versions of it exist. But I think that's been kind of one of the weird like gray areas of, despite the fact that all kinds of Fate Stay Night related stuff has been dubbed and localized, they've never done anything with the original visual novel. Despite the fact that they've made Heaven's Feel, the original Fate Stay Night anime, and then Unlimited Blade Works, which are the three major story paths of the original novel. So that's kind of a big one that like I kind of think of sometimes. But in terms of like traditional games, I think a big one is definitely Uncharted 2 in particular. Trying to think if there's another like game that's like just haven't found time or energy to get around to. Meaning to play for years, maybe even decades.
A lot of those really long ones that I don't even touch because they're too daunting.
Yeah.
Like Persona 5, I've been playing with my brother.
Yeah.
But like we haven't played in a long time.
Yeah,
just, like,
that's definitely a big one.
It'll take like 100 sessions to finish.
Yeah, it's a big game. Yeah, I think maybe along those lines it would be like Persona 4 probably is a big one. I started playing that game a long time ago, but never got around to finishing it. I only got those like 8 hours in, maybe 10 hours in. So I'm not like I wasn't super far into it. I'm trying to think if there's any other like staples of gaming that I just haven't got around to getting to. Those are definitely some big ones. Maybe another one would just be like the Call of Duty games. Like I've always kind of wanted to get into, but I just haven't. This has nothing to do with energy. It just is like time. I think mainly like it's just like that falls by the wayside. It's Call of Duty. But I like wanted to play the campaigns of like the original Modern Warfare games. Recently, Cold War's campaign is supposed to be really good. I want to play through Black Ops 2 and 3, even though I heard 3's kind of ass, but Black Ops 2's campaign is supposed to be really good.
I haven't played a campaign though. I played multiplayer.
Yeah. So those campaigns are definitely ones I wanted to try to get to at some point. That might be something I just do because those campaigns aren't. I don't imagine they're all terribly long. Maybe 10 hours at most. So.
You ever like to think about when you're thinking about video games, and then it brings you to think about your mortality, because you look at all your games, you know, I'll never finish all these games. I'll never even play all these games.
That's true.
And it's like, wow.
I feel like I could be. That's one thing that like I almost feel like if we're going back to like maybe one of the previous questions, maybe this might even come up. But like I think that's actually one thing that like I wish there was a way our channel could help me be more intentional about playing games. Because if anything, it's made it a little harder to play games.
Right. Well, because we even tried in the past when we're going to do the Tales of Vesperia video. Here's the dates to finish it by. No one's doing anything.
Yeah.
And okay, so we're not going to do it. Because even when you set a date, it's like, well, I don't...
It's tough. It's hard because it's such a long game and we all have different stuff going on in our personal lives. And
you set dates for the Gents Challenge and you can just fail. That's just an option.
That's just how that works with that, yeah.
So,
it's tough. But, yeah, I would say those are definitely some big ones. I'll probably like think of, after this video is done, I'll probably think of like, I could have thought of this one or whatever. But those ones are like definitely... I mean, if I had my collection handy, I'd be like, this, easy. I could just look at my shelf and be like, that's like an instant, why haven't I played that yet?
Yeah. You can see the progression of time behind us.
Yeah, you can. It's now become night. Its sun hasn't gone down completely yet, but it is approaching there. The lights have come on at the neighbors too. They have like purple string lights. That's fun.
All right, we got Ari Louie.
Hey,
friend Rusty.
5
years already? Where has the time gone? Always look forward to Tarqaron videos. Here's to 5 more years.
Yeah.
Here are 5 questions to celebrate 5 years of greatness.
Yeah, I know. We're pretty great.
What's the first movie you remember seeing in theaters?
Toy Story. Yep.
I wish I never had a concrete answer on these, like first ever thing, whatever it is. But the only ones I have recollection of when I was young. I think of like Pokemon, one of the Pokemon movies. It was like 2000, Pokemon 2000.
Oh wow, okay, that was a big
one of those ones. That's probably like one of the earliest ones I can remember.
Yeah, I remember Toy Story is definitely the first one. The 2 earliest movie going memories I have are seeing the special edition of A New Hope in theaters, and before that was Toy Story. So Toy Story was 95, so the fact that I can remember that at all is pretty great. But I do remember that movie, seeing that movie pretty well.
That's a good start, a good one to start.
Great one. It's still the best Pixar movie. So
here we go again. What's the first gaming console you remember playing, and what game did you play first?
The first gaming console I remember playing was the Super Nintendo. I think I played the NES before that, but I do not remember it at all. So it's got to be the Super Nintendo, and the first game I remember playing was Mario All-Stars. Super Mario All-Stars. Playing Mario 1 in Super Mario All-Stars, yeah.
Super Nintendo, and it might be the same, honestly. Super Mario All-Stars is the one I think of. But again, I don't remember exactly what was first. I was like Super Mario All-Stars, Super Mario World.
Yeah, one of those two. I remember...
And also a game called The Pirates of Dark Water, which is like a beat-em-up.
Oh, okay.
Game that we always loved.
I remember my mom setting a timer for 15 minutes for me to play Mario All-Stars. And I think I would...
Just to challenge you, right?
She was really trying to get my... Yeah, this is where my speedrun passion comes from, I guess, at that point. No, I sucked at that game. I still have never beaten Mario Brothers 1.
Me too.
I've never beaten it. One of our I don't think he asked a question, but one of our members in our Discord is a friend of mine from college. That was actually been one of his. He has that sometimes on his Gens challenge is playing through Super Mario Brothers 1, but beating every world, not doing no warp, so warpless. Yeah. Warpless, and I like that's something that I'd like to do too at some point. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. When you go to the movies or watching from home, do you have a go-to snack?
Popcorn and Bunch of Crunch. That's when I go to the movies. That's what it is, big time.
Mine's Snow Caps.
Good. That's a good choice.
Peanut butter M&Ms.
That would kill me.
Yeah. Or, so as far as movie snacks, those are probably the main 2. Or Skittles.
Yeah, I'm a huge popcorn fiend. I brought popcorn here actually.
Just bring it out.
I love popcorn. So I have to get popcorn every time I go to see the movies. So
okay. So your minimum entrance fee is like $25.
Basically, yeah. It's tough. It's rough. It's rough on my wallet.
It's a tough life.
It's a tough life.
When I'm contemplating life decisions or going through something difficult, I love going for a long drive or walk while listening to music. Do you have a go-to album, band, or soundtrack you like listening to during challenging times to help you process difficult or happy emotions?
So honestly, Linkin Park. Like I'm dead serious. No, it's not even.
Do you jam out those ones?
It's actually not even the older ones. It's like not like that era. It's actually during like Minutes to Midnight and 1,000 Suns era. That's like, for whatever reason, I think 1,000 Suns is like their most underrated album. Because I think a lot of people hated on it when it came out, but I think Minutes to Midnight is kind of a stupid album, honestly. But 1,000 Suns is always the album I kind of like turn to, because it's like they were trying to like think about like really big concepts of like war and strife and trying to find peace in a world that's so chaotic and So that's definitely one. That's definitely one that comes to mind. I think me and Rusty have talked about this before. U2 is definitely another big band for me. My dad is a fan of it growing up. Didn't listen to it as much as I think I'm remembering, but we definitely have bonded. Me and my dad have definitely bonded over U2 and the Beatles as well. But the Beatles isn't normally one that it's not a big go-to. It was a big, I listened to them a lot as a kid, but I haven't really like spent time to like sit down and listen to Beatles in a while. But U2 is definitely a big one for me.
It's interesting because I just started recently. I'm trying to like diversify all the music I'm listening to. Listen to more. I just love music. I love a lot of different genres. So I've been going through every Jay-Z album.
Okay.
And I started going through every Beatles album.
Those are in different sides of the spectrum, and that's cool. Jay-Z's great though. I'm not a big like hip hop rap person, but
yeah, Jay-Z's great. But yeah, as far as this goes, I don't really generally have a go-to when I'm emotional or stuff. Like I might, if I'm sad about certain things, I might play some sad songs. I really just get into it, but not like a go-to artist.
Yeah, I typically I'm kind of the same way. Like I tend to just, those are just things that I tend to listen to, I guess, just to kind of help unwind in general. I don't know if there's necessarily a go-to that in particular. But I think soundtracks that always pick me up, and this is actually something that I talked with my nephew about, Super Mario 3D World. I love the soundtrack of that game. That'll always have an extremely special little place for me. I used to listen to it while I was working at one of the places I worked at. I used to like. It was like a camp conference center place back during college and just after college. And I'd always throw that on when I was doing work, and that I love that soundtrack, and that always puts me in like a much better like mood. Mario Galaxy is another really big one as well. Because what I used to do, I would, when I was mowing lawns in my gap year, I would have either the Mario Galaxy soundtrack or the Final Fantasy VII Advent Children soundtrack, and I'd go back and forth and listen to like those two when I was like doing physical work. So those are really important to me too.
To you too.
And you too.
Animal Crossing and Paper Mario are like good vibes for me.
Yeah.
So if I ever really want just good vibes, I'll throw those on. All right. What's your favorite thing about your Tarqaron co-host that you think helps to make the videos you create better? I'd say Alec is a very passionate individual, and I always appreciate people that are passionate about things. So it's like, whenever we go to talk about anything, you're going to have something to say about it. It's not like some people, you can't get opinions out of them. But he's passionate. I respect that he's like vulnerable about things. You know, he's like, I cry during movies.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Yeah.
I'd say with Zach, it's a dedication to organization and getting things moving, but also not feeling overly constrained to like, oh, we have to make this short, because if you've watched our channel for a long time, we can wax eloquent for very long periods of time. But Zach does really like having a really good organized structure to everything, like plans, and it's something that I always tell myself that I'm going to do or going to have done or whatever, and I just never get around to doing. I guess that's just not. I could probably be more intentional about that, but Zach has always done like a great job at like holding me accountable at trying to get stuff ready on time, organized. I'm late to everything, so he still is frustrated by that, and I try, I really do, but genuinely having like a very structured attitude towards everything. I mean, doing all the editing and stuff, I mean, we wouldn't be able to, that makes everything way better. So he's the idea guy, as we talked about earlier. So yeah. big time.
All right, much love, gents. Keep up the great work.
Well, thanks, Rusty. You as well. And congratulations.
Dubs came back.
Dubs came back for more, huh?
He said literally anything. Okay, so what exactly led to World War One? Everyone knows the triggering event, but how did that trigger lead to such a global conflict?
I don't have time to answer that question, Dubs. I'm sorry.
But it all comes down to Archduke Ferdinand.
Yeah, I mean, that's a triggering event. That's what we're talking about. But a lot of it was like decaying of imperial powers in Russia. There was just a lot of this country promised this country they'd help, but then this country didn't want to help, and then this country
Germany was there,
and then Germany was there, and then this country owed a debt to this other country. It's just a giant, complicated mess of
it was just such a whole mess and a big overreaction at the end of the day.
It was just a big overreaction. That's all it was.
Much to do about nothing, as I always say about World War One.
That's what I'd say about World War One. Yes,
the Great War.
The Great War. Jordan
Amaya comments, "That's my lover."
I why did you say it like that?
He said, "Would you rather be guaranteed?" This is a question we were looking at would you rather questions, and we debated this a little bit. So you asked us here.
Okay.
Would you rather be guaranteed to live for 50 more years, but not be able to leave your house ever again, or only live for another 5 years, but be free to go wherever you want?
That is an amazing question. Honestly, probably the first one.
The 50. You take the easy 50.
I would take an easy 50. I mean, it's a lot. That's tough because I've never been the... Man, that's real. Okay, now that I'm thinking about it, more. It's more complicated than that because the thing is, there's all kinds of places that I'd love to go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, sure, I can watch videos on like places in Japan and things like that.
Sitting in your house watching videos of the places you wish you could go.
And I am a bit of a homebody. I mean, I think that's kind of so. Okay, so I'm gonna get real for a minute here. There's a girl. We've gone on dates a few times across the years that we've known each other. That's actually one of the things that is so we're just too. One of the things that is the most, I guess, maybe frustrating is that there's genuine attraction there, but we're kind of too different as people. I'm more of a homebody, and she is way more high energy than I could possibly keep up with. So she likes to travel. She does all kinds of other stuff. I like traveling, but I'm a lot more the type to just kind of relax, sit down, watch a movie, play a board game. And she'll do those things, but her life can't revolve around that, I don't think. Mm-hmm. So like so what's difficult to me is that like I think be free to go wherever you want 5 years. I could live a pretty good 5 extra years. 5 years is not a lot though. That's the problem. That's really not a lot of time.
It's your philosophy on life. I mean,
because I could get married. I can't leave my house ever again, but I could theoretically get married. Still, right?
Yeah.
You could have somebody come over.
Yeah, anybody you interact with, they have to come to you. And just, always come to my place. Yeah, that's what I was arguing that it would do the 50-year one. She was saying the 5-year one. That's
very difficult. I think, because the thing with the 50 more years...
would get depressing, right? It would get depressing for sure. But what I was trying to say is that you could make it work in some ways, like, as much as you can.
Yeah.
Like, have people visiting as much as possible, diversifying what you're doing as much as possible. Obviously, it's not ideal. No one's going to say it's ideal, but 5 years is really tough. It's a really small amount of time.
Well, especially because, like, the house I'm living in right now is kind of small. So that would be kind of the difficult part that I'd have with that. If I could choose a house, like I'm gonna be real, Zach. The square footage of this apartment that we're in right now is probably about the size of our house.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a basement. We have a full basement, but that's probably about the size of this house, of our house. It's not very big. I mean, this is for an apartment. This is quite spacious, but for a house, it's quite small. So, yeah. So that would be tough.
But just think 5 more years now. how much could I actually really get done in 5 years?
That's the thing that I don't know. I mean, I could travel. I could travel places that I'd wanted to go, but I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to like get married and have kids, and that's something that I still want to do. Still want to have happen at some point.
Yeah. I mean, your odds would tank significantly.
Quite a bit if I had to. Yeah.
If you had to be 50 years in the same house, but. Yeah, I still think you have to go with 50 years if you value your life enough, you know.
Yeah.
To just say I'll be done in 2029 and just agree to that. Especially I don't have a lot of money right now, so there's not actually a lot I could put into action right now in terms of like doing a lot of traveling in a short period of time.
Right, like I have some savings and I'm doing okay, but like if I can't leave my house, I can't do my job, so that's kind of hard.
Yeah, I don't know what happens then. What if you don't work and you're just like, well, you can't try to evict me. I'm stuck here.
Yeah, I'm here. You know, like 50 years from now, like it's probably. I mean, my housemates are going to be gone. They might be married and have kids and families. So I'm just standing there,
and they're like, well, we can't. You physically can't remove him from this building.
It's a curse or something.
All right.
That's tough. That is tough. Because I think I would still side with the 50 years, but like that 5 years of
pump some more years into that other one. I think.
Yeah, if you pump some more years into that, I think I would probably side with it. Maybe 10. If it was 10 years, I'd probably go with that. But
all right, here are my brother's grand questions.
We have so many more questions to get through.
Krillin Ball Z.
All right,
getting mine in at the buzzer, but I thought of a beefy batch of questions for y'all. Mostly media-based, but with a couple of questions that are a little more thinky or even channel-based mixed in there.
Okay.
Number 1, if you had to select a character from some existing source material as the mascot of Tarqaron, who would it be? And if you had to create an original mascot for Tarqaron, how do you imagine it would look/act? And why is it just Chugs Bunny realized?
If it had been a couple years ago, we probably would have said Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic or Blood Rain.
Maybe Blood Rain.
The iconic mascot.
But we've had a lot of things happening and going on that hasn't involved those.
Rupert.
And just Rupert in general. He's their mascot. Just Rupert. There he is. That's tough. And if you had to create an original mascot... Okay, so it's like if we had to select a character for something, and then also if we had to create a... I think Chugs Bunny would have to be our original mascot. I mean...
Would be a great mascot.
It would have to be. He's just like, I love chugging milk. And anal sex. That's it. I love those things.
Those are the two pillars of the channel, I think, too.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. We can't talk about anything more than those two things. What are you talking about? It's all we talk about all the time.
You look at all of our videos, they can be filtered into two playlists. Milk, anal sex. There should be playlists on the channel.
That's right, we should. Well, if he was our mascot, there would have to be.
Some existing source material, yeah.
Maybe Shrek?
Shrek, yeah.
Shrek's a good one. It is kind of Shrek. Shrek does sort of stand for a lot of...
Shrek persists.
Shrek does persist. I mean, I think it would be...
I think that's my answer too, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Because it's like, you got some comedy, but you also have some feelings in there too. And that's the thing, is that's the whole Shrek universe, so it includes Puss in Boots as well. So, but I think Shrek works.
Shrek and the Chugs Bunny.
Yeah, that's it.
Number 2, who would be on your short list of people you would want the opportunity to interview or collab with that were involved in things you've reviewed for the channel? Anything from Survivor to movies/TV shows or video games, etc. I've always thought it would be cool to talk to Survivor people, but find it incredibly difficult to think of how to feasibly do that.
Right.
Because a lot of times these people keep up with Survivor, things happen in later seasons, and to say... No, you cannot say these things and trust them not to say them.
Right, there'd be no way to control that, really. Or it'd be very difficult to control that. Yeah.
I thought I could interview them, but it would be annoying if you couldn't watch the interview with them.
Yeah, I mean, Boston Rob is a big one for me, I think, would be... Boston Rob, Rupert, I think would be, two big ones. Would be, that's, in terms of Survivor related, those are definitely, some big... Even just Jeff Probst, we would never be able to handle that. But that would be something that would be kind of amazing to be able to do. Um,
And then anything from things we reviewed.
Surviving to movies, TV shows, video games, etc.
Al Pacino.
My eyes see Oppenheimer.
Get him in here.
There it is. My eyes see Oppenheimer.
John Travolta. And that kid from the Game Awards. Those are my three.
The Game Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
The Bill Clinton kid.
And the Bill Clinton kid.
Bill Clinton kid.
We're talking like movies and TV shows. You can get a lot of.
That's really tough. Probably, I would say Mike Flanagan.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Flanagan would be like a huge get to just get some interview time with Mike Flanagan.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely a big one. I'm trying to think of like if there's really any video game related is an interesting one too. I think when it comes to that, probably like voice actors or something in regards to that. But that's only like extreme. That's fairly tangentially related to our channel, so it'd be kind of difficult.
Yeah.
But I think of like try to think of like composers or anything like that. George Lucas, just get George Lucas on.
Bach.
Just Bach, J.S. Bach. Just raise him from the dead. There he is.
He would be good.
It would be great.
So good.
It would be epic if we could get Bach on our channel.
The exclusive.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I can't really think of too much anything else. Those would definitely be what I kind of look at.
Yeah.
In terms of stuff like that. So you have Mike Flanagan.
Michael Myers.
Michael Myers.
The
Just have the character Michael Myers showing up.
Mike Myers.
Oh, Mike Myers. Okay,
Yeah.
for Shrek.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a choice, I guess.
It's a deep dive into this.
It's a deep dive into
all the Shrek experiences.
the Shrek
stuff
lore.
he wants to talk about. Right there. Yeah. Pretty good.
I mean, I guess sort of not really quite completely related, but like Happy Console Gamer. He's not quite listing in here, but that would be someone that I'd love to just have on.
We gotta review the Happy Console Gamer movie first, and then
you would review that, and then we could have him on. Yeah.
All right. Zach knows how much I love these shows already, but Alec, as a Star Trek fan, are you familiar with or ever watched Seth MacFarlane's The Orville?
I've not.
And as a musical/Disney fan, have you ever heard of Galavant?
No.
Both are available currently on Disney Plus. If you ever are curious, I love them both. They're two of my favorite shows, despite the fact that I've never watched anything Star Trek.
So my brother says extremely good things about the Orville, and old Rich Evans from Red Letter Media has always said has said good things about the Orville in the past as well. So that's something that that's one of those things that's on the back burner. I should make it a priority. Once I finally go through all of the Next Generation, I'm kind of slowly working my way through that whole series, which is going to be the first time I've ever watched the whole thing all the way, like the whole series all the way through. I think I've seen most of the episodes, but I've never watched every single one before. So once I do that, I'll probably hit up the Orville. But Galavant, no, that's not anything. I've never heard of that before. What is that? It's a
musical TV show. It's like, I know it's like knights and kings and queens type vibe, but it's like a musical.
That sounds fun.
Show.
That sounds really fun. But I've never heard of that before. What did it air? Was it like on TV, like ABC or something, or?
I don't know what it was on. I don't remember, but I do know.
Maybe.
Just know he loves it.
Now there's something about that. Now there's something about that name that does ring a bell. If it was on in like the 2000s or something, I may have had some people talk about it with me. But that's the first. If that's the case, that's the first I've heard of it in like 15 years or more. So I don't know. Never heard of it. That's cool though. I should look into that. Yeah. Cool.
All right. Is there a video or video series idea that you've had where both of you or one of you loved the idea, but you felt you needed to scrap purely because of logistical issues and make it too difficult to execute?
We do. I can't think of what that was off the top of my head, but there's been definitely some that we have.
Well, it's just like we're constrained naturally by the format and by me not having a great computer that I can't really record like us playing games. I can't do that.
That's been kind of a big one we've talked about for a really long time. Yeah, I mean, like I don't even have a capture card or anything like that. I mean, I could always like screen, like if it was on a PC, for instance, I would be able to like record my screen. That would be easy. But it is pretty hard to kind of do anything like that.
I've had a lot of ideas where I thought it would be great, but logistically, they're tough in terms of even stuff that just involves recording my screen. If it's too intensive, it won't. We have a hard enough time getting it to play Survivor episodes that, like, if it's something like even like a web page, interacting with web pages type thing, that can be annoying even. So I know there's a lot of things like that I haven't been able to do. And I'll have these ideas and I'll be like, I can't really with what I have going on.
I feel like there was like another particular thing that we scrapped because of that, but I don't remember.
Yeah, there definitely was.
I can't remember off the top of my head. It was a little bit ago, but yeah, the game related stuff is something that we'd love to do, but it's just kind of restricted with that, unfortunately.
I wanted to do the Coliseum, like more Coliseum ideas would be open to stuff like that. I wanted to do a Coliseum where it's like the Wikipedia game.
Oh yeah.
Where you go on Wikipedia and you start from one thing and you try to get to another page.
Right.
But I just couldn't do it with my setup because it would be very slow on my end.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Unfortunately.
Technological limitations, unfortunately, yeah. There's some.
Alright, I've recently been listening to multiple Dungeons & Dragons podcasts.
Okay.
Despite the fact that I've never played, and an idea came to my mind. Again, I've mentioned my ideas to Zach already, but what video game universes do you think would make for fun D&D campaigns?
I think about this all the time.
Mine are Kingdom Hearts and Smash Bros, as you could expand the characters and areas in their respective universes and do the things that might be a little too obscure for Disney/Square or Nintendo to do respectively.
Kingdom Hearts and Smash Bros. Are really fascinating. Kingdom Hearts, I feel like is something I've sort of thought about, but it's almost too much. So this is something I may have mentioned a very long time ago. It's just more on the back burner now. I'm not really doing a whole lot with it at the moment, but Golden Sun has been the biggest one for me. I've periodically over time been working on a setting for that. It would be, I don't know what system I would use. I mean, because I was thinking like 5e. You can vary 5e you can morph and meld that in a lot of different ways. But I have a lot of problems with the way Wizards of the Coast runs things now, so I almost might look more towards Paizo's Pathfinder system, which they've worked in ways to sort of distance themselves from the open gaming license by Wizards of the Coast, especially when they threatened, I think, a year or two ago to take that away. That was in our first podcast episode. I talked about that. Golden Sun's like a big one for me. But other really huge ones would be like, I think Persona would be awesome. I think, and just or just general Shin Megami Tensei. So like you could still have it be in a modern setting with like demons and stuff, but have it be maybe a little darker than Persona tends to get. I mean, they've made a Dark Souls RPG. I don't know how good I don't know if it's any good. I would assume, based on early reviews, I remember it having some fairly significant issues. But I think the Miyazaki sort of Hidetaka Miyazaki worlds make themselves very interesting for D&D campaign settings. So Elden Ring, I think Critical Role did a Elden Ring one shot where they had some like customized rules and it was based on 5e, but those are the ones that are like immediately. Golden Sun is like the big one for me because I think that's like one of my favorites, just period. Kingdom Hearts is a great idea. That would be so much fun, actually. So
Mass Effect, maybe.
Mass Effect would be cool.
It'd be very unique, I feel like.
We played for a while. Our group was playing Destiny, Destiny, which is a variant that homebrew that some fans have made for the Destiny universe using 5e rule sets. But that's super fun. We were actually, because the new Destiny expansion just came out, and me and one of my friends were talking about how it was kind of making us miss that campaign, because they were like, this world and this universe is so cool and was really fun in the time that we were spending with it, and we're probably never going to go back to it at this point. But but yeah, I'm kind of off the top of my head, just sort of trying to think of honestly, oh yeah, honestly, Octopath Traveler is another big one too. That whole world and setting is pretty cool.
The dancer, Primrose.
I based one of my favorite D&D characters slightly on Cyrus, so, well, only very slightly. He's a different character, but that's sort of like, I took that as like a starting off point for one of my favorite D&D characters that I had. I'm trying to think. Persona, I think, would be really cool. Critical Role did a one shot in that too, but I was kind of bummed because it was not. Basically, it was just like only very slightly changed 5e. It was like but I'm like, man, like 5e is great because you can do a lot of different stuff with it, but like I would just like totally go off the walls and do something completely different with that.
Right.
So.
All right. Still got a lot of his questions here. Sticking on Kingdom Hearts for a bit, what new Disney worlds would you like to see show up in the next Kingdom Hearts game? And do you think Disney will ever incorporate its acquisition brands like Star Wars, Marvel, and Muppets? Should they?
Star Wars, big no. I hate that idea.
They definitely shouldn't. This is the same problem I had with Disney Infinity. They started like right after the first game, it was like Disney, that's what everybody wanted. Then we had 2.0, it was Marvel, very Marvel focused. 3.0, very Star Wars focused. And like, okay, well, it's not really Disney Infinity anymore.
Yeah, I think Disney Infinity was all right in its way, but because Kingdom Hearts is the main story focus, is the way it is, and by that I mean it's kind of cringe, and I mean that lovingly because I love it, but it can be kind of cringe, a little bit.
The power of friendship.
Yeah, you've only played the first one, so you haven't even seen how cringy it can really get, and I love it. I think like I embrace it very much. I don't even
know if I know all of the worlds from the next two. I've definitely heard a bunch of them.
Oh, there's a lot of worlds, so they do reuse quite a few of them, but so Marvel's one that I'm open to. The only thing is like I don't know what are we doing. Here's the thing. I'm open to it, but they would have to pick like a specific movie. They wouldn't be able to just do all of Marvel. It would have to be like City. Yeah, basically, yeah. It would have to be like, but they already sort of did that with Big Hero. Big Hero. So they did have Big Hero 6. So that is technically a Marvel property, but that's about as far as I would go.
Yeah, it's like maybe you go into Shang-Chi world. That could be
something like that, maybe. But
that's the most, it has to be really.
You'd be a lot more restrained. You can't just have the whole MCU all up in here.
But yeah, I would pick like an imaginative world. Like I don't want to just go to New York City with Spider-Man.
Yeah. And Muppets is weird.
It would be weird.
It would be extremely weird.
I feel like would be here for it. Though.
I think Muppets would be a really fun as like sort of just NPCs in like a hub world. I think would be a lot of fun. You have like Fozzie Bear walking around and doing goofy shit. And
imagine a Muppets world. You turn into like little puppets, like walking around.
You could do that even. I mean, heck, why not? They did it with Toy Story. They did it with Monsters Inc. Mm-hmm. So that's actually where I want to go. More Pixar stuff. So we did Toy Story, Monsters Inc. But I think
Cars.
No. Inside Out. I think would make Inside Out would make a really good. I think would make a really good one.
Zootopia.
Honestly, yes. I think Zootopia would be great. Zootopia is very popular in Japan too.
I've been thinking for the longest time that Zootopia would just be a great video game. Period. Like it would be such a fun open world game.
They didn't make one. They didn't make a Zootopia video game, did they? Yeah, it was kind of in that period in the 2010s when they didn't do that.
It kind of got past the licensed game phase.
Yeah.
But
Zootopia
so that would be cool in that
seems to me to be a really good. I think that's a really good place to go. I think if they did that, they should. It is very popular in Japan, kind of like how Frozen was. That was one of the reasons why Frozen was in the game. It was in Kingdom Hearts 3.
And then Meet the Robinsons, of course, is right up there.
I've never seen that, but I hate the art style of that
Yeah.
movie so much. I can't stand the art style.
Do you have a Chicken Little world?
Chicken Little was in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Really? That's so weird.
So it wasn't a world, he was a summon. Okay. And he was voiced by Zach Braff, too, if you can believe it.
Oh, so we need a Chicken Little world still. Still waiting for that.
Get that.
Sky is falling type vibes. All right.
Yeah, would his dad be the final boss?
Yeah.
His dad would be the final boss of the game, I think, as in the worst dad in any movie ever.
How about
Finding Nemo?
Tim Allen, Santa Claus?
No, what? You were just going like random live action properties.
Yeah. It just feels right, doesn't it?
Why not the Simpsons Family Guy? We could do some Family Guy world. We could have that.
Really
in there.
getting out there, yeah.
The Simpsons, because they're Fox acquisition.
What's it? Smithsonian they have or Nat Geo? They have Nat
Geo. Yeah.
Get some.
Well, there's the Zootopia. There you go. You got Zootopia in there. So, I think
Simpsons world.
But Simpson would be so weird. That'd be no. That's a no. That was just I said this as a joke.
Like,
but
next Kingdom Hearts, like they really jumped the shark. Star Wars, Simpsons. What's the other ones we talked about?
Cars.
New York City with Spider-Man.
New York City. There's Spider-Man. There he is.
Like, wow, that's not even... what are we doing?
Would be weird. So I genuinely think Inside Out would make a great world. I want something like Treasure Planet would be super fun. Like go for some of the oddball ones that everyone's kind of starting to get nostalgic for. Atlantis, even though I don't really like that movie. I think Atlantis would be kind of cool.
Treasure Planet
would be awesome. I think that would be excellent.
They won't do it though. They're not brave enough. The cowards.
I honestly think it would be fun if they did Princess and the Frog would be kind of cool too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be great. But I don't know. I think more Pixar worlds are definitely a must, but I think they do need to be careful with that too. Finding Nemo I think might work. The only problem with that is how do you access a Keyblade if you're are they going to do the weird thing that they did with the Little Mermaid?
They will absolutely do that, and
bipedal?
It'll be cursed.
It will be cursed.
If it plays anything like that one, I don't want it. So.
I don't want that in this game.
But yeah, I still got to see. I can't really have a wish list too much. I haven't even seen the.
Yeah, that's true. I guess.
Work games.
Yeah, I don't know, but
those are some. Those are the good ones.
There's definitely some Inside Out for sure. Princess and the Frog, Treasure Planet,
Muppets.
I think Muppets as like an NPC would be really funny.
Sesame Street. All right.
Ryan the Last Dragon actually would be pretty good. That's actually that's what I've talked about with that. That would make it's not a game that would make a great D&D setting, but that's a world that would make a great D&D setting, I think.
That's true.
Same with Avatar, which is why they have an Avatar RPG now.
Okay.
The Last Airbender version, not the James Cameron.
Yeah. I think I know Alex's answer already, but what Final Fantasy character would you like to see make a cameo in the next Kingdom Hearts game, like Cloud, Sephiroth, Squall, and the likes previously already have? Lightning.
It'd be Lightning.
It's like lightning in a bottle, right? Waiting to happen.
I would Lightning anyone from the 15 crew, or
Clive.
Even Clive, maybe.
Give me Clive. It would be so weird.
It would be Clive wouldn't make any sense. Maybe it'd be young Clive. It'd be like the 16-year-old Clive. That would be the only one that would make any sense.
His dog. What was his name?
Torgal.
Just Torgal's there. Huh. Yeah. Well, I don't have a lot of Final Fantasy experience per se. Mine would be the little boy from My Life as a King.
That's a little obscure, but sure. Yeah, I would be.
Who are you?
It would have to be like Lightning, or even it could be any of the 13 cast. Honestly, I would be okay with like Snow showing up and being kind of a brash blowhard, or even someone like Saz, or even Hope. I'd be okay. I'd honestly be okay with any of them showing up, but I don't think it's going to happen at this point. It felt like pulling teeth to get Final Fantasy characters back in Kingdom Hearts again. So, since like Kingdom Hearts 2, or Birth by Sleep was the last. Birth by Sleep was the last one that had Kingdom Hearts characters. It only had one. It had Zack from... Yeah, it had Zack Fair from
what are we
Crisis
doing
Core.
then? What are we doing at that point? What was the game supposed to be Disney Final Fantasy?
So but the thing is like there are so many characters that are Kingdom Hearts characters, and that story is like it's kind of like outgrown the Final Fantasy part of it to a degree, because they're basically like Final Fantasy characters now.
You go up and you're like, oh, you're Cloud from Kingdom Hearts, right?
Yeah.
Damn it!
No, it's Sora Kingdom Hearts. That's his name, and Rico Kingdom Hearts.
He gets recognized on the street, and they're like. It's like the thing he doesn't want to be known for.
Yeah.
What about like Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah.
The remake?
No.
No, Kingdom Hearts, you and Mickey were in that game. Alright, continuing with Smash Bros. If you could add any video game character to the next Smash Bros., no limitations, can be as obscure or unlikely as you want, who would it be? It says video game characters, so no Goku.
Any video game character. Any video game character in Smash Brothers?
Mm-hmm. Mine would be Kabu from Bug Fables.
That's very obscure. I love that.
Just a Bug Fables character in there for no reason. Would be honestly Waluigi.
What about just Paper Mario? I'm honestly surprised they haven't done that.
People have seen that for a while. Yeah,
he would be a whole different thing from Mario. He'd probably have a similar moveset to Mario, but he's got like a hammer.
Hopefully, we're back on track here. So now they don't have moves where he's like throwing color and like ripping stickers off of people. You know,
you could have, well, that's the fun part about Smash Bros. Is that you can still have references to some of that stuff.
We like to forget. Though.
We like to forget that. We forget. Who can forget? Well, who can remember really at the end of the day? That's the real question.
Yeah.
Fries getting cold. Baby.
They are. They already weren't very warm.
They weren't very, very warm when we got them. We'll have to throw them in the oven after we're done.
Waluigi.
Well, why haven't he in the game?
Why hasn't he in the game?
Why hasn't he?
He was
an assist trophy, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it would be epic. I'm still pulling for like Waluigi video game. I think that would break the internet. Like an epic Waluigi game. It's like overly serious too. Narratively focused Waluigi game. You know, would be epic. Like quick time events, story based game. So
what I've wanted for a really long time is if they bring back the Mario and Luigi games, have Wario and Waluigi be in it too. Why not? Have them in the RPGs. I think that would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be really fun to have them involved because they could be, you know, you have them characterized in similar ways, give them dialogue and weird stuff to do. I don't know.
Yeah.
Have them working maybe for Bowser or against Bowser. I don't know. You could do all kinds of goofy stuff with that. But I think like a Wario and Waluigi game would be fun.
Yeah.
So.
But any other video game characters for Smash?
Shovel Knight, not as an assist trophy, but as an actual character, would be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I
don't have too many on my wish list anymore after such a large roster.
Honestly, in terms of like other game characters, maybe like Doom guy. I know that was a thing for a while.
Doom guy, Soap McTavish.
No, it would be honestly Soap McTavish. No, probably Master Chief is probably the only glaring omission I would say in terms of like iconic video game characters.
You could go for like the Rayman, the Crashes,
Crash would actually be a pretty big one too. No.
Spyro.
No.
I would put Sly Cooper in there.
Yeah. See, that's the thing with the PlayStation All-Stars. Basically, that whole catalog of characters, except for like Sweet Tooth and like Nathan Drake.
Fat Princess. Get
Bizarre.
Her in there.
Bizarre. Get that out of here.
The Killzone guy. Yeah.
Was it whatever his face was from Infamous?
Sure.
I almost called him Alex Mack. The Secret World of.
But yeah, if I were going to pick, I would pick a really weird character just to fuck with everybody. For sure.
Yeah.
Like Soap McTavish.
Soap McTavish.
Soap cleans up the competition.
That'd be hilarious if they had him in there. All right. You think about it.
If Nintendo announced a full game-priced DLC that introduced a spiritual successor to a Subspace Emissary, 20-plus hours long, with lots of cutscenes and everything, weaving in the entire current roster, would you be excited for it, or would you rather them focus on something else? I'd be here for it.
I'm 100% here for it. Absolutely. Sure.
He's been pushing this idea for a while now that they should really have added an update with like a Subspace Emissary type thing.
Do you think that's maybe what they might do for the next one? Just to kind of, since Sakurai's not really working on it anymore, you could just have like...
So he thinks. just when they think him out, they pull me back in.
Yeah, maybe. It could be something. It could be a situation like that. But, I mean, I would be down for it. You could just like Smash Brothers Ultimate, like...
That's the biggest thing. Ultimate is like...
Ultimate Plus, or...
It's like the Ultimate package, but it's just got the glaring omission there where it's like World of Light has a ton of content.
But and it's really fun. It's fun,
yeah,
but it is...
But it's obviously missing that special something that Subspace Emissary had, which obviously would have been super ambitious, but if you're going for Ultimate, it would have been cool.
The thing is that, like, what is... I would say, yeah, World of Light is great, but it is still lacking... I would say Smash 4, even though it had some stuff that kind of was meh at the end of the day, like Smash Run and Smash Tour both ended up being kind of lame. Events are still great. Event matches are still really fun, and I guess you could say World of Light is kind of like that.
Kind of.
But
it's kind of, it felt like almost fan-made in certain elements, where it's like, oh, this green monster is supposed to represent like it's like completely different. Yeah,
like here's Rob. Rob is this character from Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah.
He's Metal Face or whatever.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really...
And they would give him an item and like some other ability to make it like he's Metal Face or whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
It's almost cheesy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, these are all like, we're going to try to include as many characters in the game as possible. So these are the characters we couldn't do, just make them things.
Make them stickers.
I also think in general that like the spirits aren't very cool, because that what we loved about the trophies is they have the description, all the different history you could look back on. That would have been cool.
That would be, see, in addition to that, that would be a cool thing to add back in the game, because one of the reasons that's not in the game is literally time.
Yeah.
Like, because Sakurai used to write all those himself, and then would have other people like fact check and do other things to like make sure it all had the right information. But like when you have like hundreds and hundreds of spirits, like he obviously can't do that for everything.
Right.
But yeah, it would be cool to have that added back in.
Yeah, if you do Smash Ultimate Deluxe, give us all that. I want break the targets. I want board the platforms, like all these things.
Yeah, but break the targets is really fun, and make it like Melee's break the targets. Yeah.
Like the Wii U was like, okay, cool. We have the same generic one. Cool. So there's still a lot more there. Even with all the content, there's still a lot of potential we're missing there. Also, less of a question and more of a content idea.
Ooh, okay.
I know I've mentioned it to Zach before, and I know the logistics would be a nightmare. But if logistics were no object, what are your thoughts on the concept of having a Tarqaron D&D series where you guys, along with a few others and a Dungeon Master, played through a D&D campaign in episodic bursts, whether on the YouTube channel or separately as a podcast? I totally volunteer as tribute in this perfect world scenario, LOL, but as a player, not a DM, since I haven't played before.
So it's funny because he mentioned D&D earlier. It's actually something that I thought about but never have voiced. But doing kind of you can do one-on-one stuff, even as just like a one-shot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so doing a one-on-one with me as DM and you as player would be kind of fun to do, because there are systems in play where you can do that. You can make single-player campaigns like that and make it work. So I think that would be kind of fun to do.
Would be interesting in a perfect world also, where if you could have
we could get
you saying he volunteers as tribute. So.
But we could get we could have him on. We could have Blink. We have Rusty. We have Dubs already plays D&D, so he'd already have something going on with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
could be something there.
Yeah,
in an ideal world, if we had all the
it's hard.
It's a time thing.
Time is the biggest thing. Yeah, because our Pathfinder group meets once a week, 4 hours, and
right, yeah.
it's 4 hours, so it's like, and sometimes we have sessions where we're doing a lot more than like this past session we didn't get a lot done per se, but is what it is sometimes.
If you had access to a time machine, would you rather go back in time or into the future, ignoring any butterfly effect shenanigans? Because we're not affecting anything.
Okay, back in time probably.
Back in time. Because knowing the future is too much.
Yeah, knowing the future is too much. I'm fine with having the future come as it may. I don't really necessarily want to see where everything goes, because I'm scared of what it might entail, especially nowadays. I may have said the future even 5-10 years ago, but definitely the past.
Right.
I think is more interesting to me.
There's so many cool things you go back and see.
Right. Exactly.
Little stupid things, like little interactions, up to like huge historical events.
Right.
Would be pretty cool.
Or even just like reliving some dumb fun memories of your past. So
that's what we're waiting for, the eye recorder thing, so
right.
we can play it back.
Right. Yeah.
But I always thought it'd be cool to go back in history and see these people who have only seen like in paintings, or just see what they actually look like in person. Would be very surreal.
Super surreal. See, like Abe Lincoln and like Abe Lincoln. At least we have photographs of, but like George Washington,
tired of big mother effers,
or like Napoleon or
Napoleon Dynamite when that was being filmed.
Yeah, when that was. Yeah, and go see how.
That's my first thing that came to mind.
John Heder, there he is.
What movie that never had a sequel produced or announced do you feel is ripe for sequelizing? What about any video games that you feel need a sequel? Movies.
Movies in need of a sequel.
That haven't been announced either.
Interesting question, because like that's all Hollywood can do right now, right?
This is what we need to know. What can be made a sequel out of?
What do we need? Yeah, what do we need more sequels of? They never made a sequel to Halloween. Boy, what an interesting question.
Trying to think of like movies we reviewed and my favorite movies.
I'm trying to go back and see if I can think about anything like that. It's difficult. I think a lot of storytelling has been plumbed in a lot of that regard, I think.
Hard to find an untapped sequel.
It's very true.
So for video games, Bug Fables 2 is what I want. That's just me.
For video games, I want another sequel to Golden Sun. Get that on the brain.
Another Final Fantasy would be good.
Well, that's inevitable. Golden Sun 4 would be kind of nice. I think that needs a sequel. That's a video game that I feel needs a sequel. Is the third Golden Sun? It ended on a cliffhanger. That's the worst thing. It ended on a cliffhanger, and it's never going to be resolved probably at this point.
Super Mario Sunshine.
Super Mario RPG. Honestly, getting a true sequel to that game would be amazing.
Yeah. The Thousand Year Door.
A true sequel to the Thousand Year Door.
Yeah.
I would say, I guess, Super Paper Mario isn't really a true sequel to that, but it does reference stuff from the Thousand Year Door.
It does, but I was actually thinking this the other day. It would actually be kind of cool to have an actual direct sequel to the Thousand Year Door, like same cast almost. Would be cool. I could see that.
I think you almost mix in stuff, maybe some characters from the original Paper Mario as well. Would be fun.
Just a big, but Paper Mario is the thing. Like now that Thousand Year Door has been remade, it's like
it's been selling pretty well, from as I understand.
It's what we've been asking for almost 20 years. It took 20 years to get back to what we wanted.
Yeah, what the hell?
And there's still so much untapped potential there. I think like there's so many more stories you can tell in that way. So it's like we've only had these 2 games in this formula basically from them. So give me the true Paper Mario sequel to those 2.
I'm trying to think if there's any other sort of games that I can think of off the top that I would like to see a legit sequel to. Because like a lot of them sort of already been done, really thinking here.
That's what I got.
Yeah, Golden Sun is I'm always big on that bandwagon. In terms of what it can do, I would like to see Mega Man X as a series come back as well. I know they've had 8 games and an RPG in that series. I would still like them to bring that back. I think that would be pretty great. Maybe
Mario Super Sluggers.
I never actually played that, which is weird because I'm a big baseball person, but yeah, just maybe don't have the team that's worked on
They can't get it right, yeah.
On the whatever.
Strikers.
Yeah, the Strikers Battle League.
Battle Network.
Network. Strikers Battle Network. Yeah. I'm trying to think of if there's any. I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head. Movies is really hard too. You have Princess Bride too.
Bride too.
It'd be the worst. No, there's no point to that. The story's ended. I'm okay with things having an ending. That's the thing. That's the weird thing of like.
Normalize having an ending.
It's okay having stories end. But yeah.
There's got to be something I can't think of, but.
Yeah, video games in sequel. Yeah, Golden Sun is about it, and Mega Man.
I knew Zach's answer already.
Okay.
But what are your favorite Pokemon?
Oh, okay. So.
1.
What are your favorite Pokemon? Multiple. What are?
R2.
What are your favorite Pokemon? Oh, okay. Just period. This is very difficult, but I would.
Squirtle.
That's your favorite Pokemon?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. My nephew, I'm giving him all Squirtle stuff because I lined up my newest nephew. He's like 2. The first times I met him, I lined up the 3 starters, like the 3 little plushes I had, and he went to Squirtle, and I'm like, all right, it has been decided.
It has been decided.
I'm going to buy you Squirtle stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy you Squirtle stuff until you...
Until you tell me I don't like Squirtle.
Exactly, basically. Until you tell me to stop doing it is what I'm going to keep doing it, so...
He comes up to you with a confession.
I've
never liked Squirtle.
I've never liked Squirtle ever. I'm a Charizard. Yeah, that would kill me. That would actually crush me. That would crush me if you're a Charmander kid. I like the 3 originals. I like the 3 original starters a lot, but
how do you think they're doing? Charmander kids.
What are they up to these days? You think? How are they doing?
I hope they got their life back on track.
I hope so too. Yeah, it's a lot.
Who's your favorite? Period. Garbodor.
Gardevoir. Probably Gengar.
Yeah.
I like Gengar a lot.
What are your thoughts on the ethics of zoos? And we're talking fully accredited ones, not Tiger King.
Okay, so this is something I was actually thinking about this a little bit ago. I think there is a fine line. So I think there are zoos that have animals that likely should not. I think zoos in terms of study and conservation and protection are extremely useful. I think zoos in terms of how they can be used to inform and teach the public of behavior, and showing like the animals to people that would never seen them before. I think it was a really huge thing, the fact that we had pandas on loan from China, like to help with the conservation and attempting to continue to propagate the species. I think that was really important, but at the same time, I think there are probably, and a lot of the ones that are kind of like more shady, a lot of those ones they don't exist anymore. I think there's probably still a lot of work to be done in that regard. But a lot of times the animals that are in zoos are animals that aren't going to be able to, would never be able to necessarily make it in the wild anyways, because they were injured or they were abandoned perhaps at an extremely young age in their life and were rescued. So a lot of times zoos are good in terms of, for all those other reasons that I specified before. That being said, Wildlife preserves are much more, that are in the places of the natural habitat. Tons of wildlife preserves in Africa, where a lot of the more exotic animals are from. I know there's plenty in other parts of the world as well. But those I think are preferable.
Right.
But I think there's like, for example, like SeaWorld, I was fortunate to a degree enough to have seen...
Aquariums, that's a different question.
What's that?
That's a different question. That's aquariums.
It's somewhat related. It is somewhat related because why did they have orcas? Orcas were not a safe animal to have kept in captivity for as long as they were. I was fortunate enough to see... I went to SeaWorld when they still had orcas, but it was after the woman had been killed. So they weren't doing shows. So they were still able to do the shows, but they weren't going in the water anymore with them for understandable reasons. But at the same time, I remember feeling like orcas are very different from dolphins. Orcas are very intelligent. But they're a lot more violent creatures than dolphins are. Across all discernible metric. They should never have been in captivity. They need...
Yes, that's rough.
Yeah.
Bad.
And that's like the whole thing with a lot of larger sea mammals like that. Like whales don't do... You can't keep whales in captivity, really. They won't live long enough. So...
The thing with zoos is like people see these big cats and stuff like lions with these smaller confinements, just go back and forth, like they got nowhere to go, and they're like, man, they must be miserable. And so there's an element of that where it's like, it does kind of feel weird that you have these animals. They could be out running around in the wild, but I do think there's a lot of... I genuinely really like zoos, and I think it's cool. Like, kids really like them, and they get to learn animals. There's animals I would never see in person. It's like much different seeing them than just seeing a video, So I think there's a lot of value there.
There is, yeah.
It just needs to be handled properly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because I think one of my favorite things, like when I went to... I can't remember where it was. It must have been the National Zoo. I can't remember exactly where it was. It must have been the National Zoo that I saw elephant for the first time. I remember just they as big as they could manage to have a huge enclosure, and it's just like one of the coolest things that I can just remember. The elephant basically kind of approaching from an extremely far distance, as large as the enclosure was, and walking our way, and I was just being like, this feels like it's out of a movie. It was just one of the coolest things I can remember. But I was probably 16 or something. Yeah. First time I ever saw an elephant, and I was like, that is just the coolest thing in the world to have gotten to see that up close to a degree. So
at the Philadelphia Zoo I went to, it's really cool seeing the gorillas there. They're one of my favorite things because they're you can see them a lot of times they'll come right up next to the glass. They'll just be chilling, hanging out there. There's one just kind of sitting up in the corner. They're so cool.
The great apes are pretty great. Yeah, that's right in the name. They're great.
They're great. What can I say?
Great.
But yeah.
You get your Donkey Kong shirt on. We all all know what you're repping.
If you could design a Tarqaron video game, what would it be like?
What does that even mean?
About to pop in Tarqaron. You guys hopping on Tarqaron tonight?
A Tarqaron. So does that mean does that mean it's a video game that's based on us, or is it a video game that we would just design?
Well, I guess that's the question.
Yeah.
What would it be based? I would say I would want the most ambitious game ever, super open world with all these freaks, from all the things we reviewed.
That would be amazing. Actually,
you can go up, you can get quests.
Would it be an RPG?
Yeah, open world RPG. You get quests. You go over to Blood Rain. Blood Rain.
What do you?
I need your help with this.
She's like, I need you to suck
Give
this character's blood.
No, I need some blood, and then you have to go, and it interacts with some other Tarqaron character. Chugs money. He needs one of two things. You choose which one you want to give him.
You choose.
Yeah, there's a lot of choice involved.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I think that would be cool. All the worlds colliding.
Yeah, it would be like Kingdom Hearts, only our kingdom.
The most ambitious crossover in history. Period. you know?
That'd be pretty big. It'd be a pretty big deal. Of
Like all these movie characters, video game characters.
How would we even get the licensing for that? It doesn't matter.
But it could be like Kingdom Hearts in the same way, where like us and the guests are like NPC characters, almost like Final Fantasy ones.
All right. With the real world
like
people.
Pestro, you know, you're just chilling. It'd be a great time. That's what I would do. What do you think? You agree?
You could do a turn-based RPG with personas that are all so it's like a persona game, and you use the abilities of the characters in the different stuff that we.
You have the Shrek persona, Blood Rain, Sonic.
Yeah. Use that. You could, or I mean, it could even be like a monster catching game. It could be like blend persona with like Pokemon or something, and like have. So
would Chugs Bunny be like the Rattatas, or would he be super common Chugs Bunnies, or would they be super rare? Is he like a legendary?
You could fuse Chugs Bunny with Hannibal Lecter and make a true monster. At the end of the day, at that point.
All right, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Our last question of the day: how's that Tales of Vesperia replay going?
All right. Well, thanks for submitting all your questions, everyone.
That's gonna be. I'm gonna wait for the 20-year anniversary of that video.
Probably at that point, yeah. I mean,
2033.
Well, so Rusty and Lauren are having a kid, so
that's why we haven't played.
That's why we haven't because they,
we knew they were going to.
We knew they were going to. We predicted it.
There's no way we would have been able to do it a previous year whatsoever.
3 years ago. Yeah, there's no way. I mean, I'm still at the same place I was. I feel like I don't know how much time you put into it. Did you put any time really into it when we were trying to get to
2 hours? Yeah.
Okay, I put a good 10 hours into it. I was playing it.
I want to get a fresh start. I was playing on the Switch. I almost want to get the PS4 version or something,
Right, and it wasn't. I don't know how much Rusty got into it. I don't think he even started. Did he?
No, I don't. Not that I know of.
I'm not sure.
Lauren played some.
Lauren was playing some.
We did, but
yeah. Because I think we talked about maybe having
she could maybe be in the mix.
Come into Ryan maybe too if you get into it, but
very ambitious for all of us to just not play it.
It's a big game. It's a long game. There's a lot of games that were coming out. So
it's tough because we tried to set a date. Like let's finish it by this date.
Yeah.
Just didn't do anything.
Right.
No one moved.
Yeah. I mean, I did. I played my 10, 15 hours of it, but that's about it. I didn't. But
I remember the original time we did Tales of Vesperia years ago. We did a podcast talking about it on Hey Listen. That's where this all came from. That's where the name of our channel comes from.
Right.
But that was because of a Gents Challenge.
Yeah.
The 3 of us were assigned Tales of Vesperia, and we all actually beat it, which is that's already a miracle in itself. That was
we had more time. Weirdly enough, we had more time because we were in college, or I was in college, and Rusty was in college.
I was in preschool at that time.
And you were in preschool, so yeah, we all had time on our hands.
Nothing but time. That's it. That's the Q&A.
That's it. Wow, that was a beefy
fucking Q&A.
Yeah,
if I've ever seen one.
Well,
all right. Well, stay tuned.
We'll get some of that time off from us, like eating and stuff. Like maybe 5 minutes off that.
Maybe 5 minutes off that.
Yeah.
You'll notice.
And the humming and hawing, maybe some.
We went from bright sunny day out.
Sun's gone down. It is almost. It's almost the time that they tell us we have to be quiet. I mean, we're not making a lot of noise, so I don't imagine anyone's going to complain.
Quiet hours are upon us.
Yeah.
But we got a lot of videos on the way. They're going to be coming out across the weeks here.
Got a lot planned.
Stay tuned. Our 5-year celebration isn't over yet.
It's continuing. Continuing for the next foreseeable future.
Mm-hmm.
So stay tuned for all that. But thanks for everybody who submitted questions. Means a lot. It was a lot of fun answering them. A lot of different variety topics. So.
Oh yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah.
We covered a lot of bases here.
For sure.
If you enjoyed this video, why don't you go check out our review of Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
Right.
This is a nice brief one.
It's a nice quick one.
Yeah.
We changed so much.
We did. We're now long in the tooth.
Check that out. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed. Like the video. Leave a comment. If you do, we'll read it in the next episode of the Tarqaron podcast that we record. Take care of yourselves, all right?
All right.